Actually, my father was a dentist, and he didn't like the blood. Our father, he came here, and he was an American citizen because he came from Cyprus. And those days, if you were born in any of the colonies of British, you become automatically American citizen. So when he came here, he went to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, where my aunt was there with my uncle, and they put him into the factory where they were making the part that was going into the gun. Because he was from Cyprus, he could speak 5 languages. And not only speak 5 languages, but he also could write 5 languages. Now that's not easy to do. So they were paying him then $75 because he was the, let's say, the manager of so many people, because some of them were Italian, some were the Slavic language, some were Turkish, and he was speaking those languages. He did very well there. And my uncle worked with him. And when they met, my uncle says to our father, why don't you come over to the house? And I would like to introduce you to my wife and have dinner with us. A couple of weeks passed by, and my uncle again says, listen, my wife brought her sister here from Greece. She's only about 16 years old. And you know what, you were 25, 26 years old. The difference was about 11 years. Says, you come over. So I decided that she was a very, very good cook. In fact, have meatballs, giftedes, as we say in Greece, were the best of all. My father decided to go there. He saw my mother and he fell in love with her immediately. And he was working, I think, 2-3 days at the factory. And one day he took his apron off and he says to my uncle, you know what? I'm gonna go by and ask the head of your wife's sister. He says, really? My uncle said, yeah, really. And my father left, he went to the house, he proposed to my mother. My mother didn't want it because she was too young. She just got from Greece, she couldn't speak English. Finally, they decided to get together and get married. They got married in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. So that was the case of mother and father and the way they got together. Do you remember anything anymore besides what I said? Because there's a lot of things.
Yeah, what do you remember? Tell us what your memories are of your father. Do you remember?
Well, you want me to tell you how they met with my mother?
No, I want you to tell me what kind of man he was. I never met him before.
Your father.
He was very, very energetic. He never stayed still. Always looking for something to do. I remember him that at the time that they had rationed the meats, we couldn't buy meat by
this was during the war, where we had the restaurants in Norfolk, Virginia.
So he at that time was going to the meat markets, in wherever they were, and he would get a leg of lamb or a half of whatever it was, put it on his shoulder, and bring it to the store.
Yeah, he was, and you know what? He was not very healthy either. He had trouble with his heart.
Oh yeah.
And he would carry all that meat, whether it was lamb, whether it was beef, whatever it was, he would carry that to the shoulder. Those days, it was very hard during the war to get people to work for you. So he had to do, everybody had to. Another thing, during that time that my sister mentioned all this, he was doing the war close to the end of the war. And to get somebody to work for you, you had to go down to the cemetery and dig him out and bring him over to work for you. So everybody was working my sister was working in the restaurants. I was working in the restaurants. Yaya was working. Her mother was working in there. But we all working in the restaurants. So that's up to the time that we were working at the restaurant Colonial Avenue.
Colonial, the house, the restaurant was called Colonial.
Colonial.
And Colonial.
And Colonial Avenue, and we had 4 floors plus the restaurant 5.
Like a townhouse.
And everybody had his own floor. In that floor we had 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, living room, dining room on every floor. We never rented it out. And when we were getting up in the morning, we used to go downstairs all together in the morning to work in the restaurant. And my mother, she loved to have pancakes with eggs and bacon. And guess what? She got us used to it. And we became all fat.
Especially the girls.
No, not the girls, but especially us, especially me. And he was strong. He couldn't eat anything. And that's our youngest years.